The friendliest, the most juiciest news is coming your way, baby dolls. Has CZ done some spicy tweets again? What's happening with the Coinbase ranking? Are we climbing? All of that coming and more. Welcoming you back to Crypto's juiciest news. I've given the green emoji to BTC. We have risen by about 1,000 American dollars. It is sitting at $118,000, cranking on its way towards 120. Plus, we could see the range where we come back and we retest this little high part. You can't see it on the monthly, but it might do some little doji thing. You just never know, friends. You know what I mean? 118,000 American dollars. We are now on the 4th green monthly candle. I just want to show you something and tell you something, okay? In the past, okay, see how there's 4 in a row? Alt season starts to move when honestly, we're due now. Like, alts are meant to be moving right now. Okay, I know we still got 2 weeks left in the month, but they're meant to be moving right now. Meant to be, but it is what it is, okay? Now, I want to tell you this as well. Last year, right, we concluded a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green monthly candle run, okay? 7, okay? And 7 is enormous because the most we've done before that was 6. So we actually had 7. Now, if you remember, on the 7th green monthly candle, altcoins, we just went up for like 2 weeks, not even, and it was like all over. And we're like, what? Can't be over. We just got started. And we've been suffering ever since, which is sad. Bitcoin dominance is pretty much what risen up from this point as well, right? Okay. This is where everything just went up for 2 weeks. Remember Pepe and Landwolf and everything out here? Friends, we still love all the communities. We're still there. No one's gone anywhere. It's just, man, it's been painful. Like, man, I've been waiting a year and a half, but that's the business cycle, friends. Rates are high. People remember the zombie virus. We don't let go as much, and the inflation and everything, cost of living, all the dominoes falling into place. Pretty much, they're not conducive to retailer plebes letting go. You know, because that's it. We just got to wait longer. I know it's sad. I want it to happen. But there's nothing else you and I can do about it. I mean, what are you gonna do? Like, okay, if you capitulate and sell, okay, do what then? You're gonna hold stable coins? Good luck with that. You're going to go to the stock market? Yeah, but if you know if the stock market goes up for another year, you know we're having an alt season. You know what I mean? So you're going to get your shitty 8% in the stock market index, and then you're going to miss out on the alt season. What a shame that would be. You held 4.5 years, and then in the last year when you meant to hold, you went and bought the top of the stocks, and we had our alt season. What else can you really do? I know it's tough, man. It's tough, friends. It's tough. We didn't ask for this, but we have to deal with it. We have to deal with it, okay? Trust the plan, I guess. So Bitcoin having 7 green monthly candles is enormous. We're on monthly candle number 4. I can actually show in the past as well. This was 6, okay? This is actually alt season wave 1. So even though it was 6, okay, in candle, so this is 1, 2, 3. In candle number 4, this was January. So if you remember, altcoins actually started moving up Feb, March, April, and then the last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of May. Okay, so on candle number 4, it's where we are now. If it finishes green, it's like go time. Okay, but like that's why this is the end of the cycle wave, alt season wave 1, and this is alt season wave 2. All right, so if you're curious as well, we can even go back further, and I can show you what happened in 2017. Now, this is the thing, right? When it comes to this, this one was an Ethereum first cycle unicorn cycle, okay? So what I can do now is go back to Ethereum's chart. I just want to show you Ethereum had 7 green candles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You see that? And then even on the 8th, it went up on the 8th. Imagine you sold on the top of the 7th green monthly candle for Ethereum. It was 2,700. And then imagine your face 2 weeks later, it's up at 4,300. It's up 50%. You would have felt like so silly. Because you know your altcoins, they went up like another 2.2x from that point. Unfortunately, but then it was all over at that point. We pretty much got scammed. So are you noticing this theme when Bitcoin or Ethereum, when they do that 4 green monthly candles in a row, now we have a chance at an alt season, okay? And we've got to obviously have green candles after that, you know? That's what actually would make the alt season because things keep going up repetitively, yeah? You can even see it in Ethereum's first cycle. It had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green monthly candles. So you're seeing this theme now, friends. You're seeing this theme when Bitcoin or Ethereum, when they hit that 4 green monthly candles, there's a chance. Remember the traffic lights? There's a chance. Oh, you've done 4. like it happened every single time, right? There's a chance that you do green monthly candle 5, 6, 7. Okay, and that's pretty much. But we're thinking, hey, what's happening with all these altcoins and everything? They're not moving. Well, remember I shown you in the past, they only move for 100 days. The whole cycle's over in 100 days. The first 50 days, there's about 3 months here. The first 50 days is just walking up with everything. It's just walk up, walk up, walk up. And then the last 50 days is actually exploding, accelerating. Okay. So, but here's the thing, man. Like, we've been waiting a freaking long time. Could it really all be over in like 100 days? We'll see, man. We'll see. Now, before we crack on with more ratios, I'm just going to show you the daily super trend chart. This is BTC on the daily super trend. Remember, friends, the daily doesn't teach you much because the daily it goes red and green, and everyone's on the daily chart. We live our lives day to day, okay? You can really see euphoria. You can see it, and it's undeniable on the monthly. Okay? But it doesn't feel like it, right? I mean, think about this. You know, Bitcoin is on its 4th green monthly candle. I just showed you. Does it feel euphoric? Because technically, like, we're in the upper confidence part of BTC. But if you look at Bitcoin's monthly chart right now, what's everyone, I guess, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, you're saying this is just getting started, bro. This is just getting started. Well, here's the thing. If you go to 1, 2, 3, where's the 4th green monthly candle? It was 42K. I hope it does another 70% move. That was when we did the Bitcoin ETF run. That'd be crazy. If we did another 70% move to 200K, that'd be nuts. So all of these, remember, it's outside of our control, but we're going to use all these other exotic top signals and stuff to guide us along the way. Ethereum, friends, it's all about meth. I love meth. You love meth. I mean, who needs teeth anyway? You got your gums. This is $3,800, that zone. We're still waiting for this to finally get clear. Ethereum is still under 3,000 or around 3,000. Who gives a crap, right? It's still very, very, very far away. No one's excited. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Nothing to report here. We've got to see a big snap up, right? We want to see a big snap up. Or we want to see something like, just do something like that, okay? Until that point, no one really gives a crap. And before we continue, we got to crank it a bit. All right, so this is the OTHERS-BTC ratio, okay? OTHERS-BTC, friends, remember, this has done so many red in a row. We haven't even finished one green month, okay? OTHERS-BTC is also your signal of euphoria. So this does 3, 4, 5, 6 green in a row here. And then this did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green in a row, okay? 6 green in a row, 5 green in a row. This is DeFi season, by the way, and it did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green in a row, okay? No one looks at this, but during that time, because it's just Ethereum and altcoins and on Ethereum chain going up, okay? And that was a Bitcoin halving year here. So that's why I'm not concerned whatsoever. I mean, we haven't even had one green monthly candle. Literally, we haven't even finished one. We're on one now, but this is garbage, okay? We have to do, like, one to start to get nervous, 4. Give me 4 green monthly candles, and then I can go, okay, we only have, like, 3 examples in the past. No, 4. We got 3 or 4 examples in the past. One of them, it was only 5 green candles in a row, then it was over. And then in 3 of them, it was 6 in a row. Okay, so we got to wait for that moment. Like, let's finish one in the first place. Okay, that's why when blockchain backer says, you know what, it could be all over soon. I don't know. We're not going to go. We can't pretty much. I'll never say never. We're not going far enough in the next 1 or 2 months to justify any of that. On the positive, though, the global liquidity fractal is still rising up and up and up and up and up. That's pretty good out here. So you're probably wondering, Sami, if the global liquidity, if that's moving Bitcoin, right, and we're lagging behind it, is there something that tells you that they're going to print money and global liquidity going up? Yes. Raoul Powell from the Good Morning Industry, GMI, yeah, they've made a financial conditions index, which leads the money printer by like 9 months, I think. And I've shown you the chart when I do my macro videos and stuff out here. Guess what? It's always going up. You know what I mean? So financial conditions, they plug a few things into it. They're like, hey, what's the change of, say, oil in the past, 3 months? What's the change of the interest rates? What's the change of the US dollar? Now, obviously, what happens is the worse they get, it increases the amount they got to print money. So if the US dollar goes up too much, yeah, it spikes up. or if oil spikes up, or the US treasuries go down, that means changes the interest rates and the cost for everyone. When those things happen, because remember, oil is where we get all our kippy from. Okay, so that's pretty much how all the dominoes fall. But you don't really need to worry about that because like it's always pretty much going up. You know what I mean? There's always something that comes out here. But yeah, they're all saying everything's just gonna rise. It's gonna rise. I also want to show you in the past. That's why you just got to be careful. At the tops, this is what happens. Okay, look at this. At the tops. Perfect. I'm so glad we can see this. Look at this. So Bitcoin, friends, disconnects. Look at this. See this? Bitcoin disconnects from here. It disconnects to the upside. Why? It's because their money printing here, it creates the positive flywheel. All right? It creates the business cycle. So, and it does basically the self-fulfilling prophecy flywheel. And we go up and up and up and up. And guess what? They actually keep committing to printing. But look at this. The money printers are still making a higher high. And look at this. Freaking, we made the actual low of Ethereum on that day, which was funny back then. This is the bottom of the 3 hours capital stuff. Okay? So, what we know from this is crypto's hyper reactive on the upside. But because we go up so far and there's nobody to push the brakes, what happens is we top out earlier. You know, because we get all the buyers in and we front run all of them and they all come in. That's what's happened in the past. Now, it won't be like that forever, but that's traditionally what happens. And if you think about it, it makes sense because you know everybody's going to have to get trapped somehow. Crypto doesn't rescue anybody. You know, when the world macro is going down, we get wrecked. So we shouldn't top out after everything, right? We top out earlier. That's what makes it more tough. That's how everybody gets trapped, right? We top out earlier than everything else because then that's how you create all the dip buyers and the bag holders. So I can show it to you again. This is actually what happened last cycle, friends. They were still printing money. And I remember, you remember too, all the KOL, everyone, friends, remember a lot of the KOLs who bragged about selling in $50,000 to $60,000 BTC, they were rebuying at like 38 and 40. So they were rebuying here thinking we're going to go up. So they thought we were making these higher lows, and we were. You see that? We thought we were going up. What ended up happening was, bang, we just start capitulating. And guess what? They were making higher highs on Tether and the global liquidity. They were still printing money. That's when, that's when all the interest rates and stuff happen because the market prices in the future. So what can we learn from that? Well, macro keeps us bullish on the upside, but nothing is gonna give you 100% confidence that the top is in. Nothing. That's why we have to go to exogenous means where we look at, hey, is Tai Lopez here? Are we doing $1 billion public ICO races, right? Is Coinbase App Store did it hit rank number 1? We can mix and match a lot of these together. Are we seeing just like an excessive amount of crazy things? Are we seeing a lot of people post screenshots? Are you posting screenshots? Did you flash your screenshot to someone out here? Maybe some of you have $6,000 and you're showing your family members. Maybe you have like 72,000. You start flashing screenshots and then we hear of people like quitting their jobs to trade and do this stuff. That's another example of what we look for because you're not going to get a macro indicator because their order's going to be high. Because here's the thing, you might go, oh, Sammy, what about the monthly RSI for BTC? What about all these exogenous indicators? Yeah, but here's the thing, friends. They're all going to be high for like a period of, 60 to 120 days, this window of time. And anything can happen there. I mean, Bitcoin went from 6K to 20K back at the end of 2017. I'm here for the final 3 months. Yeah, 6K. Then it goes to 10. Then it goes to 15. Then it goes to 20. So, we hope something like that happens again, but chances of that happening in that parabola fashion is pretty unlikely. It's going to happen in altcoins somewhere. Now, before I crack on with even more news, friends, the SOL-ETH ratio continues to flop. So this is the SOL-ETH ratio. It is going down. Remember, it's the ratio of Soylana to Ethereum. Here is when I said the most unpopular trade. Sell Soy and buy ETH. It was literally right here. I did it on the spike of Trump launching a meme coin after 1.5 years. Here you have Freddie Krueger, a grifter, launches a coin and then rugs it on Soylana. Obviously, he's blocked me because he's a little bitch. He's just a perfect example, right? He is a representation, like Bitcoin maxis, they love Bitcoin, right? And they love soy. Because in their mind, They say Ethereum is not a worthy competitor, and they're jealous of ETH. They really hate Ethereum, right? And because they're jealous. Of course they're jealous, because Ethereum is trying to be credible neutral money, and they just keep laughing. So they like soy, because in their minds, they're like, soy would never compete as money. Because they know soy's doing the technology route. I mean, go speak to them. They'll all say like, oh yeah, something's going to come faster than soy next cycle. Obviously, it just happens every single time. Because they know in their mind, a fast chain Ethereum appears in 2014, that cycle, 2014, 2017. Then like, oh, EOS tries to compete with it. Then last cycle as well, we had like faster stuff. Oh, remember the faster Ethereum ones, like EVM, like Phantom, they were doing the cheaper costs and everything. And now this cycle, soy, and they're already seeing Pui. You know, Raoul Powell moves from Soylana. He starts talking about Pui now. And, you know, they know there's going to be something else next one. And because that's why it's funny. They really, really, really hate Ethereum. And the world, look, I don't know where Ethereum's going to finish the ratio price. I'll just tell you right now, my job's not to think about where it's going to finish. My job is just to be like, oh, wow, it was cheap before. Now it's mega, mega, mega deep contrarian cheap. I want to show you now PulseChain prices as well, friends. PulseChain is getting dunked on, red everywhere. What's going on? There's like some giant sellers out here. So I'm just going to tell you something, friends. So do you remember a few months ago, okay, as PDI started to recover off the 0 point, a short while ago, I think when PDI went up here, right? I started saying, when PDI went up here, I started saying, hey, if I was Richard, this is what I'll do. I'd write on Twitter, goodbye. Yeah, I'd write actually goodbye, and I'd delete my Twitter. And I'd dump some coins on my secret wallets. And I'd start the train to the floor. And I'd get the last capitulation hands out right before I started moving it up. That's what I'll do. And why was I talking like that? Because I saw how effective it was at removing non-believers in PDI. Okay, now we know this thing happens, but just we saw it, right? That's what I would do. And it would be like a real test. Because if you're going to, this is the thing, friends. Why did I actually say that? Okay, I said this because I'm just going to use Pulse chart here, for example. Or you actually use HEX, right? Actually, we use Pulse. It's all the same stuff, right? My rationale was, if I knew, so remember, if I'm a whale and I have money and I have insider information that I'm going to pump it up, I'm going to move it up, right? I want to grab liquidity first. Yeah, because I don't want to just start moving it up. And then what happens is the people who were going to sell around here who are weak, you start moving it up and now they become just bigger resistance on you here. Okay, that's just normal market stuff. So if I could just get those final weekends, people who are, because this is how markets work, right, friends? So people have, believe it or not, a lot of people capitulate on time as well. People are like, they're like thinking, oh, I want to sell between, they've been thinking it since like last year. A lot of people want to have sold by now. They want to sell March, April, May, June, July this year, right? And they're thinking of selling, they plan their life around selling. Yes, and if they're gonna sell as well, they might move to others for whatever reason. They might not just bridge out into and go to an exchange. They might bridge out, go to another chain or whatever it is. Okay. So what happens is, what happens is there's this window of time. They've been thinking about selling since like here. Okay, just natural market stuff. When we get closer to that, you can actually see these people who are intending to sell here, right? They actually bring forward their selling if there's bad stuff. Okay. And also the opposite. If there are people intending to buy in a few months, if you have really good news, it front runs the demand. So these people selling now make it easier for you to move up later. Now, we've been saying this forever and we're waiting and waiting, but I just find it interesting. There's a few things here. Apparently, Richard's Simplex chat has been wiped. So his chat's gone. He's been missing for a day or two. And there's like this giant mysterious Indian exchange seller with like a shitload of HEX that's been moving this stuff down. So that's why it leads me to believe, and it just feels like, you know, it's another thing, friends. When people say, oh, it's price suppression. Yeah, who's suppressing the price? Have a think. Why would he be doing that? Okay. But it could be just another conspiracy that never ends up going anywhere, right? Because we're saying stuff like, oh, it's moving it down so we can move up soon. Yeah, but like it's boy who cried wolf. But I'm just letting you know, he's doing exactly what I said I would do a few months ago. The difference is, though, he just didn't take it that step far. He didn't write goodbye on Twitter. And then actually that would be the killer. Maybe he doesn't need to, but we'll see. Another thing to think about is, like, when would it wake up? When would it make up? Well, I can show you the PulseETH ratio. It's still towards the floor, still doing garbage. When's it going to wake up? I'm just going to guess Ethereum 3,800. I mean, what else we got at this point? Something for you to think about as well. I know you want to be moving up. So do I. I want that dopamine hit as well. But maybe he just calculated it's better not to move up 10% a day for a while because no one really gives a crap. Maybe it's better put it like a beach ball, and then when it's ready to run, right, it does like, you know, like a 500% rally in this short amount of time. And so everyone talks about it, and it's like a ignition moonshot. Like maybe he just calculated something like that. Maybe that's like his style of what he's doing. I don't know. You know, we're just guessing. Now I'm going to crack on to some news as well, friends. So Binance CZ, my friend, has retweeted Matt Wallace's post. And Matt Wallace, he's claimed Coinbase, the exchange, was behind the Bloomberg hit piece on CZ Binance and their hit piece on World Liberty Finance. So I'm going to show you his post here. So this is what I've been saying. Now, I didn't directly say Coinbase, but Coinbase is the government now. Yeah. So you want to know, like, where's all this coming from? Remember, Binance, the exchange, was too good, pretty much. So what the government did was, right, they wanted all the volume to go through Coinbase for the Bitcoin spot ETF. Now, they decided this back in the last bear market. That's why BlackRock started buying, yes? And so what they did is, in 2023, they sent CZ to jail. That's how they funded everything. They closed BUSD. It had $20 billion under management. It was going to compete against Tether. They were making $1 billion a year of profit, by the way, and they closed it down. Corrupt chairman, SEC champ. That's why Gary Gensler, he's just a muppet. He's scum as well, scum cockroach. Remember, friends, he's the extension of the US Fed, okay? Because the big US, the scum US banks own the US Fed. So they shut it down. Not even basically, they did shut it down, and they put CZ in jail for 4 months, and they disabled Binance from connecting to any bank account. Now Binance only takes like crypto or whatever. So they basically just cut everything, and then they routed all the volume to Coinbase. And so when the Bitcoin spot ETF came, it all routes through Coinbase. Okay. And, you know, they painted CZ as like the foreign Chinese guy that's like, you know, whatever. They just plant all these bullshit narratives, and it turns out to be real. Friends, I'm telling you right now, conspiracies, we're like 10 from 10 now. It's 10. I'm telling you right now, man, like you can't look at Epstein and all these other stuff and go, oh, yeah. I knew Epstein had a pedophile island and a list, but you still think that the Jenga towers fell by a couple of cave Arabs, right? You think the US government had nothing to do with that? Like, you're just, okay. There's literally, the conspiracy is that you're still an operating human after like, really, you believe that. Like, you're a cuck. Oh, you think a bat had sex with a Pokeball and the zombie virus in 2020 totally came naturally. You know, just total coincidence that Chinese and Israeli women, their fertility went up and every other race in the world went down. Yeah, total coincidence. What else is that? I mean, like, the king of the conspiracies is non-human intelligence and aliens. And Earth isn't ours. You know what I mean? So, like, but dude, it's a red pill super cycle. Obviously, we take a clear pill approach here, but it's a red pill super cycle. Blue pills are in a 5-year bear market, and guess what? It's about to get a whole lot worse. It's going to go on for a long time. This is part of it too. Justin, evidence is emerging that Coinbase was the anonymous source behind the hit job on President Trump's World Liberty Finance and Binance. Coinbase learned that a pardon for Binance CZ may be on the table, and due to their industry high fees and poor customer service, higher ups at the crypto company fear their rival Binance returning to the States with full legal status. Binance is the world's #1 crypto exchange. A return to the USA for Binance would immediately cut into Coinbase's market share and do severe damage to them. What is most shocking is that Coinbase would target President Trump in an attempt to hurt their competition. This is anti-American. Will Coinbase fess up and face the heat for their poor decision? It will all come out soon. Whoa. Big. And CZ retweeted it, man. So obviously that means the information is so damning. It came from Cuckbase. Obviously, friends, why did Cuckbase do this? Because they're freaking they're in bed with the government. That's why. It's all about control. We don't talk about control. So what do they actually want to do? Remember, friends, it's all because, okay, what does the most volume in crypto? It's the BTC USD pair, but specifically USDT. It was trading on Binance. It might still be trading on Binance, but like BTC USDT, yes, the government has to control it. So they infiltrate Tether. That's why the Coconut Intelligence Agency and the Fancy Banana investigators were literally hired by Tether. There you go. Tether's going to play ball. There you go. So, and they control the BTC leg because you got to do KYC for everything. They've got both legs of the equation. Remember, it's BTC and US dollar. Okay, the government controls both of it. That's why there's no cypherpunks in any of that junk. There's no cypherpunks. Any exchange, Bitcoin, all these exchanges, no, a far cry from that. I've got, friends, I've just been scrolling down as well. I've got to quickly shout out to bring it back to HEX. So we've got on-chain stuff out here. One of the people dumping is Dev Kyle. So Crypto Soy, it's funny, Crypto Soy here blocked me. Why? Because of PDI. Guess what, bro? Guess what? You missed out on 2,000%. Where's your on-chain stuff there? Hey, genius. Hey, geniuses. Tell me, how smart are you? Where's your on-chain analysis there, bro? 2,000%. Should make a post. I cost everybody a 2,000% because I thought tracking the blockchain does something. Newsflash, it does nothing. If it did something, all the Bitcoin maxis would be able to time all the old seasons and everything. They can't time shit. All right? Does nothing. I know you think it does something. You watch some wallets and some whales and stuff out here. Barely does anything. Okay, unless you're the top 0.1%, you're literally tracking everybody like Mr. Handsome Finance. It's funny. But we'll check out some information he's replied. So Dev Kyle, friends, Dev Kyle, this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting for PDI. All right? Dev Kyle was literally the guy who coded HEX. He made HEX for Richard. Yes, he coded it. And Dev Kyle, this is interesting, yes. He only owned 5 million HEX. And he sold it for $2 million at the top. He timed the top. Now, he's been dumping right now. He's been dumping for a month ago. Since a month ago, he's been dumping and bridging out. He's dumped $250,000 worth. He's got about 900K of liquid assets waiting to be sold. So he's been dumping it as well. And he's got a staking ladder to 2036. So his ladder's huge. He's going to get 20 to 40 million HEX per year from now to 2036. So here's the thing. So why it's interesting is if he knew the plan, he would not have only had 5 million HEX liquid. If Richard made him like a true insider, but he didn't. He would have had like, 100 million HEX liquid and he would have just dumped the $50 million worth and just capped it, but he didn't. Okay. So that's just something to think about how this game works here. We don't have, this is why it's special, friends. Like if you go to Pui Foundation and Soylana, like Pump Fund, for example, they're doing all these private deals behind, like they're paying Gainsey, they're paying all these other people to come and stream on the platform and stuff out here. Like, they're all getting paid, right? They just all pretend like they're not. So that's critical information. That makes it special and unique. Wow, I've actually got an old postie from Richard. Kyle is an amazing person and a family man. He wrote the HEX white paper. So this was in Sep 2020, 1 year before it peaked. And then HEX went on to do a 100x from that. So he's got all these coins. Let's look at it. He's got Pulse, $738,000 of Pulse here. HEX, 160K. Yeah, man. So suppressing, pricing, dumping. When I saw that, I'm like, I guess Richard's thing's working then. So cracking on back to Normie news. Michael Saylor has tweeted, some weeks you just don't hardle. So pretty much what he's referring to is he's going to buy more Bitcoin, which is, I guess, great. Mr. BTC, Michael Chad Saylor, let's play some Pumpy G music. He's going to be buying more BTC. And the Saylor Tracker website is just literally broken, which is wild as well. So Saylor Tracker, that's wild. It's broken. Maybe he did break it. And Michael Chad Saylor, friends, his average price is 71,000. I'll get concerned when it's above 100. I hope it gets above 100. It's got to get above 100. The guy's literally bragging that he's never going to stop buying. He said, I'll be buying the top forever. Like, bro, you just... okay, look. It's working now. Let it keep working. And there's going to be something that just gets really, really silly. You know, his type of conviction, it's going to onboard someone where we're like, okay, you're the trap. Right? But we're not here yet. XRP Futures ETF is going live on the month of July, which is actually our month, and the day of 18, which is coming up soon. So if we look at look at XRP chart up here. So XRP is doing a nice move up here. It's back to $2.80. This is wonderful. XRP, friends, just to let you know, blockchain backers selling everything at around $9 bucks. Okay, $9 bucks. So it's about, from now, it is about a 3x. So he's literally all out for a 3x there. But yeah, XRP has moved up first. And XRP is just a wonderful example. Doesn't have EVM. Doesn't have pump fund. Nothing. Literally no DeFi, no nothing. Had literally nothing. No use case. Banks aren't using it. Didn't matter. There's an XRP army. That's the value. So you don't need that. You don't need the tech, bro. You don't need that. You just need an army. There you go. You don't even need the tech. It's funny. You're in the tech industry. You don't even need the freaking tech because they just copy-paste stuff. They copy-pasted. It's funny. They dumped $1.1 billion on their cash balance sheet. It's actually more money than that because they paid each other salaries for 10 years. They've got $1.1 billion plus all the balance sheet money. So plus all their salaries and sports cars and everything. And they just copy-pasted Uniswap, the formula. And they just copy-pasted NFTs. That's it. So who cares? Who cares? Some people get upset at that. No, bro. It's amazing. Isn't it good to know that if everyone just sticks together, the army has a growth rate? And because you got to think, friends, you only onboard people when like everything's going up. Yeah, but if there's no army, you never get to onboard those users go to somewhere else. So as long as you just have a megaphone and, you know, money printer goes up, crypto goes up, Bitcoin has a spike here and there, you onboard more and more people over time. It's beautiful. Vice President J.D. Vance has slammed the Federal Reserve. He said, the Fed has been totally asleep at the wheel. As President Trump says, they're too late. Both in fighting inflation during Biden and lowering the rates now. So maybe it comes down to that, friends. Obviously, the rates are too high. There's something going on here with the bug eaters and everything out here. This is major loser on the right-hand side. And this is Trump again, a major loser on the right-hand side. Remember, the business cycle, friends, we have... we're still waiting. Something's going to have to kick it off. The positive flywheel is just not there yet. It's just not there yet. We've still got to be patient. Even though, like, you know, you get frustrated. What can you do? But we literally can't do anything. Just got to wait it out. And we've been waiting forever and ever and ever. PMI right here. This is it. All the forward-looking indicators for PMI saying we're going higher. And the estimate is that we're 55 by June next year. Now, that could mean that we go up and do this, which means we're still running an extended cycle. Or that's one path. Another path, so we run up, we do that. That's like one path, okay, where we do this. Or another one is we go super fast, blow off at the end of the year, and then we're doing that, okay, and we come back down. That would mean we like top out early, and then by the time we're rolling over, we just have a lot of, you know, late catches next year, which is pretty much the bear market, you know, because people buy on the way down. So we don't know what we're going to get outside of our control. More news. White House Economic Advisor Hassett says President Pump has the power to fire major loser Jerome Powell if there is reason. They're really trying to apply political pressure here. They have, remember, friends, they have the big debt. Remember, Trump has done the spending, but now they've got to roll over the debt. Yes, they've got to roll over the debt. We're still waiting for that moment. They're thinking, maybe we should just do short-term debt, try to get him kicked out, or maybe we try to move it next year. They always find the way, man. They find a way to kick the can down the road. It just, yes, the government's not imploding anytime soon. Vitalik Buterin proposes inclusive private digital IDs. So that's one thing that's going to push crypto forward, where we give people soul-bound accounts, where soul-bound means you can attach like your passport to an account, and then a file goes on there and it can't leave, or pretty much your NFT or whatever. It'll be NFT of your passport. So everyone has an address, but yeah, that's the future and how everything will work. And the government will adopt all this stuff. So it's funny that they make all these solutions on Ethereum. They're not building on any other chain. But I mean, like, who cares anyway at this point? You just care about the price pump. Hong Kong, friends. They have announced a stablecoin license plan for 2025. So just confirming again, stablecoin SuperCycle is like, we can't go a single day without hearing stablecoin SuperCycle confirmation pieces of information. Coinbase has climbed the App Store rank to 123. Wow, this is a chart of it. When it hits number one, that has marked the top 3 out of 3 times. 3 out of 3. Last year in March, it peaked, I think, 32 at the beginning of March, and we thought, and that was print starts going down, and you had no idea that it was over, right? Like beginning of March last year, right? It's funny, Ethereum hits freaking $4,000. It's still not there again, yeah? So that'll be one thing, obviously, we're going to keep on our radar. Coinbase, with all the retailers coming in, and then, but it's not about just knowing they're coming in. It's about, what's going to be the application that gets them in. What are they going to come in for? Are they going to come? That's why everyone on Soylana thinks, oh, they're going to come in for pump fund coins. No, bro. Look, retailers are emotionally trigger happy, but they're not stupid. Okay. Everyone knows you're just grifting everyone on the Soylana casino. There's not enough people winning. It is what it is. People know what the game is now. The casino is only fun when people don't understand the game and it looks fun and entertaining. They're like, oh, it's kind of like, friends, you ever seen those pachinko machines in Japan where you're playing like a pinball slot machine and they put like Metal Gear Solid and Super Mario and it just looks like a video game, but it's still the same odds. It's like, oh, you got like, like a 42% chance of winning. So it's, what I mean? And then by the time people realize, wait a minute, I'm just gambling all over again. They just move to something else. It's the same thing here. But right now, everyone knows pump fund stuff. You have these online, the on-chain scum copy traders who are just farming the copy trader bots. You have all the LA Vape Cabal and everyone out here. But, honestly, like, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just a product of what happens when you get a lot of rats together. When you have a lot of rats and scum and people who chase short-term stuff, this is the type of stuff you get, So no one's surprised. But if retail's going to come and make money, it has to be something else. What's it going to be? Don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'll blow your mind with something that they could do. They could give you like a no-loss investment product where what they do is you give them money. Let's say you put in like, 10 grand into something. This is what they've done this in like the late 90s. So a no loss in product. Basically, they take your money. You can always get it back. You'll never lose your money. But what they do is they use your money to go get yield somewhere and then they gamble with the yield. And your payout on the yield is fluctuating. So you could put in like $10,000 in something and at any point you can withdraw the $10,000. But every day, every week that earns yield. And then they can take like a big moonshot gambling thing on that. So that's one example out here. So like to say no loss, you lose on the inflation. But that's one way to describe it. Like, and here's the thing: normies, they won't wrap their mind around that. They're like, oh wow, I could never lose my money, right? So maybe someone makes some sort of BitConnect Ponzi thing around that, maybe. But I haven't seen one yet. We'll see. Looking at everything. To check out where we're going to head next, let's put on a log chart. Just to show you, friends, so what I wanted to do is, I thought about this yesterday, I wanted to show this to you. You and I, what we're going to do is, let's just go and check out, what did Bitcoin do in terms of, if you got a fib tool, the Fibonacci, and you went from the cycle high to the cycle low, how far did it run up? And you can see, in 2017, look at this, Bitcoin hit. Isn't that wild? Look at this. Look what it did. Okay, it hit let's bring it out here. There you go. I've extended it, this racist thing. It hit the 4.236. Do this. It hit exactly to it. Smacks down. Everyone thinks it's over. I mean, you got to think about that, how wild that is. Everyone thinks it's over. Hits the extension. Everyone thinks it's over. And then it actually runs up again. Oh my gosh. And then it runs. Remember, Bitcoin hit 4,600 here. And then it went and it blew off again. This is why 2017 was a cycle. Man, we'll probably never see anything like it again in our lives. Okay, because it's just the first cycle of everything. Let me draw another Fibonacci. Look what it did again. Bitcoin does another 4.236 and then blows the roof off that. You see that? So this is pretty much, we're just not going to see that again. But first, we just take note. We go, okay, in that BitConnect, the Mt. Gox Ponzi cycle into 2017, Bitcoin blows through the 4.236, the highest extension of a Fibonacci, all right? What did it do in our last cycle? Well, if we do a fib from the top to the bottom again, and we see where Bitcoin ran to, check this out. It went, this time, it went to between the third and the fourth extension. It came up and it just ticked up here. Okay, if you want to be like 100% sure because it's dangerous, it just say the third extension, all right? The third. This is the 3.618 extension. So this is a 1.618, that's 61% on top, 2.6, 3.6, 4.6. See how the lines go up? Okay, so what I wanted to check is, in this cycle, where would we stop? If we do a fib, remember, you never really know, friends. What I've done is I've just drawn a Fibonacci from the top to the bottom, again, to see where it is. And if we look at this, the third extension is 209,000 American dollars. Okay. The second extension is 156. Okay. If you want to know the first extension, we're there right now. Okay. So we've actually, isn't it funny? We've come into the first extension. We start skitzing around, come back up, and we start to skitz around. It's got kind of wild, these fibs, right? They just work everywhere in nature and life. So this is what we're looking at. The next fib will be 156, and I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think we're going to have a believer's cycle where we go up. Maybe we nick this 150, friends. Maybe we do somewhere here. Maybe we actually just run up and we somehow nick this 150 and everyone thinks it's over. And we come back down and we drop. You know, maybe BTC does like a whopping 28% drop back down to 111K. So what we can actually do is we can see how maybe there's like a bit of a channel here. It goes up, nicks it. Everyone thinks it's over. And remember, everyone will really think it's over because you hit 150 and then maybe, because I don't know what happens, maybe we actually do come up here. By the way, this is how you get a $10 trillion industry. You need Bitcoin at 200K. Okay? So the next pit stop is this 150K. Right? That's almost like there's no guarantees, but I really hope I guarantee. Remember, I can't even say guaranteeing. It's markets, man. Nothing's guaranteed. I hope that's where we go, that 150K mark. And so what I've done is I've just edited my chart to put the fib levels here. I put the fib levels up here. This will be an extreme big amount, but we don't need these things anymore. We'll see. We'll see how these things go out. So yes, that's the next thrust up, what we're waiting for. And all that mania and stuff, I guess, is going to follow. Remember, we're on the 4th green month for Bitcoin right now. Traditionally, I mean, it's been our cycle, so this carries more weight. Last time we did 7, which is a year ago. We finished on the 7th. Okay, so like, you never know, man. Maybe we get like, a few green again. But all of these, man, there's always something different in stuff with each cycle out here. I think it's really going to come down to the wild believer cycle, right? We'll see what happens next. Like, subscribe, ready button, or catch you soon.